would sniff at me. I tell them, what are you smelling? Wananiambia, wewe hujanuka wa Munyoro bado. I'm like, what do you mean sinuki wa Munyoro? Wananiambia, uende urudi ukinuka wa Munyoro, and then we shall vote for you. So I told them, look here, I have spent half an hour trying to tell you what I will do for Dagoretti and what Dagoretti is going to look like and the ideas that I have for Dagoretti. And you have dismissed all that in telling me, hata tumeangalia Facebook yako hatujaona umesalimia Rigiji. Huku tutavote ile kitu itakuja kama imevaa colors za DCP. Hata they told me even if a monkey comes in DCP, that's what they will vote for.
Is there any organized effort by Gen Z, like as far, or not even necessarily just Gen Z, just overall Kenyans who want to see progress? Is there any organized effort towards trying to get some organic leaders in these 20-something by-elections that are going to happen? Because so far from what I've been seeing, it is the political parties that have been taking the lead in this conversation. Or maybe what are we missing, Fanyambo? On your question, the question of political parties, I have some mixed feelings about it. Like I was very happy with what the Gen Zs are doing, but I have some mixed feelings about it. And the reason is because political parties actually get a lot of money, and which is taxpayers' money. A lot of people actually don't know. People think, like the figures they see on TV are the ones who are funding the parties. Political parties, there's actually, I think, about, if I'm not mistaken, around 1.5 billion shillings that's set aside every year based on how many seats in Parliament, Senate, and civic seats that you won. There's a certain formula for distributing this money. So there's a lot of taxpayer money that goes in there. So it is my opinion, because there's taxpayers' money going in there, that I think it is important for some oversight to go, because whether we like it or not, whether what they're doing is what we like or not, they're still feasting on taxpayers' money. So I think it's important for the people who choose to take that direction of I'm going to be in a political party, for there to be space and not to be these purity tests that are being done. You're either in or you're out. And actually, Ira here has a very interesting question that she was actually asking. So Dagoretti aspirants, so question alikuwa anauliza ODM, Jubilee, even UDA, watu wengi wamesema wamechoka na the same old stories. So for Dagoretti aspirants, the real question is, will you stand with the integrity block, or will you stand with Wiper, Karua's, Wiper or Karua's na Kenya? Na Kenya I don't think exists anymore. Karua's a new outfit. Safina or DCP? So this is, like another question that's coming out to you, Fanyambo.
Thank you very much. To be honest, initially, Fanyambo had wanted to bring himself out as a person who can be voted in as an independent candidate. And I went and sold myself to the people of Dagoretti South, which is where I live, it's where I work. I mean, I interact with my people every day. I tell people my kinyosis, they are my mechanic is. Mimi, there are people who talk about ingia ground and I laugh at them. I tell them, Mimi naishi ground. Everything of mine iko ground. It's called Dagoretti South. In fact, even when I want to just repair anything, I just niko huko. I live there. So for me, it's very easy. The party, yes. Now, in those interactions, mi nilikuwa naenda matanga, naenda all sorts of things that are happening in my constituency. Naambia watu nitakuja, munichague mimi kama Fanyambo, wananiangalia, wanaanza kucheka. Naambia, why are you laughing? Then they would sniff at me. I tell them, what are you smelling? Wananiambia, wewe hujanuka wa Munyoro bado. I'm like, what do you mean sinuki wa Munyoro? Wananiambia, uende urudi ukinuka wa Munyoro, and then we shall vote for you. So I told them, look here, I have spent half an hour trying to tell you what I will do for Dagoretti and what Dagoretti is going to look like and the ideas that I have for Dagoretti. And you have dismissed all that in telling me, hata tumeangalia Facebook yako hatujaona umesalimia Rigiji. Huku tutavote ile kitu itakuja kama imevaa colors za DCP. Hata they told me even if a monkey comes in DCP, that's what they will vote for. I realized I had not done enough civic education, and I went back and I tried to do it. They told me, ukishamaliza hizo vitu unatuambia tunajua. Urudi hapa ukinuka wa munyoro. And I remember one time when I was seen online having shaken Rigiji's hand, my ratings in Dagoretti doubled, actually, if not tripled. So the problem sometimes is not what we want or what we think or the ideals we have. It is the voter who carries the vote in the pocket and tells you, I am your boss, and I'm about to use this weapon called a ballot for you or against you. So if they tell you here, if you are vying here, we shall give you a vote under these conditions. And one of the conditions they've given to me is that I need to come on a DCP ticket. Then I have had to oblige because I love my people and because I listen to my people. So yes, for now, I have to vie on DCP. I wish it was different. I was actually very close, and I still am very close to Mother Karua and PLP. Even to the point of its launch, I was invited. I would probably have been one of the officials of PLP. But the people of Dagoretti South have these fantastic ideas about DCP. And so I have had to listen to that. You'd be a stupid leader not to listen to your people. And hata huko mbele wanaweza enda wa change. By the Kenyans are very interesting. They can decide waniambie sasa ni Jubilee ndio mzuri. Ama waniambie sasa tunataka utoke DCP uende Wiper. I will follow the will of the people who carry the votes in their pocket, because I want to go in and serve them and show them from inside that we can clean politics from the inside. Thank you.
Okay, asante sana.
Let me chime in. I think I wanted to wait for the conversation to proceed, but I think with Mika asking that question, there's this gentleman, this young man who had captivated social media for a while. Nganga Muigai.
Okay.
And his assertion was, I think what Kenyans need to do, they need to learn the Constitution, Katiba, in English and in Swahili.
Okay.
And the main purpose is to understand the power that you as a voter have. And, to buttress what, Fanyambo was saying, talking about how, when he's saying, well, whenever you finish everything and anything that you do, you, ukisalimia ama we smell that you have said Rigiji, then we'll give you something. And, having a handshake, not knowing that, those people not knowing that the power vested in them is so huge that if anything, what they say goes.
Correct. They're your employer.
And he brought about, and I think that is part of that civic education, where teaching of the netizens, the Wanjikos, the Atienos, just learning the Constitution, just understanding how it works, just learning it. Because he was on this show and he was breaking it down. He's like, there are these many things. Understand that. Understanding very simple things about consolidated fund. Just understanding just the basic, how money is, how the government works, who has what, MP, the CDF, and how it's disbursed and whatnot. Who has the power? Because I think if we go back to the root and just understand that, yani unaenda to mizizi huko, and then understand how it works, what is being said, and the power that you have, these other guys are going to really adjust. Because I think, and he was saying this, that this is the last administration that will just play guys around. Clearly, you can see how Murkomen is playing people. Clearly. How does a president talk about shooting people in the leg? A whole president.
Now, I think, like going back to what Mika said earlier and what Ira is asking over here, is that we have by-elections that are coming up, and maybe Fanyambo, you can tell us. We have by-elections that are coming up.
Yes.
I think it's in November. Is it
November.
October? No, it's in November.
November.
November 27th.
November 27th. And this, if I'm not mistaken, will be the biggest by-election ever
in the
Kenya
history
has
of
ever
Kenya,
seen.
And by the way,
Yeah.
I was listening to Linus Kaikai. Voter registration starts on Monday. And Fanyamambo can actually correct me on
Yes,
that, I'm not sure.
Yes, but not to lose this
29.
point.
Yes.
Yeah, not to lose this point. So there's a very big by-election that's coming up, and where my worry is these political parties that people are trying to get away from. They're the ones who have organized groups. They're the ones who've named candidates. Maybe they're independents who are not getting media airtime. But they're the ones who are actually presenting what seems to be front runners. So maybe Fanyamambo tuambie, like from the Gen Z revolt, because there was this idea that everything is going to be swept. Now, we know that these by-elections that are usually within 2 years of a general election, they're usually a precursor of what's going to happen in the upcoming election. Is there any organized effort by Gen Z, like as far, or not even necessarily just Gen Z, just overall Kenyans who want to see progress? Is there any organized effort towards trying to get some organic leaders in these 20-something by-elections that are going to happen? Because so far from what I've been seeing, it is the political parties that have been taking the lead in this conversation. Or maybe what are we missing, Fanyamambo?
Thank you. I think it's about the candidates and what the candidates inspire. When these elections were called, or when these seats fell vacant and then IBC declared that we shall have by-elections, every person who thought they could win went to a particular political party that they thought would help them win. Now, contrast that with a situation whereby, let's say if it was Dagoretti South where KJ, for example, had been made minister and I was vying. The first thing I would have done is, before I appeal to a political party, I would have appealed to Gen Zs and millennials. I would have told them an opportunity has arisen for us to actualize the things that we have been saying. And we would have held an X-Space meeting. You remember the last time we would have an X-Space meeting with about 190,000 people, 200,000 people, and so on and so forth. And we would have said, now waomba all the Gen Zs and all the millennials, this coming Saturday, tutokeleze, for example, in a place in Dagoretti South. And we all campaign and create a psyche within the constituency that will make the people feel, wait a minute, these young people are serious, they mean business, and they've come, and they're not bulging, and they're campaigning for one of their own. And they are telling us it's not about money. Wamejitolea, wamekuja, they are on their foot, some are on bicycles, some on boda. Come as you are, for example. So I feel that sometimes it's what the leader inspires. I remember Barack Obama coming out and his campaign was about Americans giving him $1, $2, $5, and people owning his campaign and running with it. So the candidates we have sold their candidature to political parties, and they have wanted political parties to own their campaign, and they have started it from there. So I think, as I've always said, leadership comes from the person who is in front there. If it was me leading a constituency campaign, I would make the parties catch up with the population. I would make sure that at the heart and center and steering of everything, the people in Kenya are there, and that the political class is having to catch up and say, wait a minute, tuingie nuku kwenye watu wako, because this candidate is inspiring the hearts of the people. So we haven't had that kind of inspiration from the people who are vying, and that is why political parties are taking the lead.
All right, asante sana, Fanyamambo. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. We've been having some issues with Facebook. Apologies. Like if you got booted out in Facebook, please join us on YouTube. We're trying to fix that. But in the meantime, we will continue right here on YouTube. Or Mike, what are you saying? What do you think we should do?
Just continue. I mean, it's gonna be it's a glitch.
Yeah.
YouTube is still doing its thing. Facebook cut off. Like,
Yeah.
for whatever happened, something happened, but it's like just YouTube is like it never.
Okay.
Facebook ndio issue.
Okay. Aya, sawa sawa.
Maybe we are being dosed.
Okay, no worries. So tutaendelea tu na YouTube. Okay. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Now, we got a bit derailed from the conversation about health, and I don't want us to get distracted from it. So, Fanyambo, for diasporans who may not fully understand, what exactly is NHIF, which has now become the SHA or Social Healthcare Authority, and why should it matter to people in the diaspora? Fanyambo.
Thank you very much. Now, the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, is as old as Kenya's independence. So when it was started in the 70s, thereabout, actually it came way after independence, the idea was we all contribute some money, just like it works in very many other countries. And then whenever you fall sick, you go to hospital and the medical cover pays for your bill or part of your bill. To a great extent, NHIF was working. To a great extent, NHIF had some success. The problem that has occurred in this country, and I don't know why, is that when you have something that is working and a new government comes in, instead of trying to panel beat and fix the small places where you feel it can be improved upon, you come and destroy the whole thing and you want to start afresh. I usually give the example to Kenyans of, for example, a Toyota. You know, when we were small, you used to see a Toyota that was called a K70. And then they improved it. It became a Toyota 90. If you remember Toyota 90. Then Toyota 91. Wanabadilisha two lights, same chassis. Wanabadilisha. Then Toyota 91, they make it EFI. And then it becomes a Toyota 100. It becomes a Toyota 110. It goes on, and so on and so forth. You know, you get the NZD, you get the Axio, and so on and so forth. The problem with Kenya is we had a working system that was NHIF. Was it perfect? No, absolutely no, but it was working. So what we needed to have done, just like the Japanese with their cars, is to change something small, improve on it, and continue with the system. If you learn from M-Pesa, when M-Pesa began, where they were is not where they are. I mean, along the way, they've had to do a lot of system upgrades, system changes, system improvements, and so on and so forth. So now NHIF, people come into government and decide we are overhauling NHIF. We are coming up with something new. That something new is going to be called Social Health Authority. And then this is how it's going to work. And they do it. And unfortunately, within a very short time of 3 years, Social Health Authority has incurred more debt to hospitals than NHIF ever incurred in its existence in over 40, 50 years that it has been in existence. This is where the problem is. So the Social Health Authority was not designed to work for Kenyans. It was designed to work for those people who designed it, because now it has been proven to be a conduit for people stealing money from the public. I remember the Auditor General telling us that the contributions that are going into SHA are not going into the consolidated fund. Those are monies that are literally being stolen and going into people's pockets. And guess what? Unashamedly, this administration is insisting on people registering and paying. And then we're asking them, look here, we have already been told by the Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya that hii pesa mnaokota kwa wananchi haiendi kwa consolidated fund. We have already been told that this money is being stolen. It's going into private pockets. But guess what? My MP KJ has set up tents in Dagoretti South. They are going around in every ward within Dagoretti South and telling people to register for SHA. But when you ask them, let us have a conversation about the fact that SHA is not working, they don't want. All he needs to do is set up desks and continue creating more customers for his boss, so that more money is harvested from Dagoretti South and all the other constituencies and taken to this loophole that the controller of budget and the auditor general are telling us that loophole is not the consolidated fund. So now it has gotten to a place where we think the state is actually using sitting members of parliament from UDA to go and set up tents and in their own constituencies. Yani ni kama watafutie this thing called SHA, waitafutie customers. Na ile pesa inaokotwa is not going to the consolidated fund. And nobody wants to address that. They just want you to address the issue of bring your money, don't ask us questions. So that is why SHA is not working.
Okay, now we actually have a caller, Fanyambo. And again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5. Or the caller is no longer there. Yeah, caller, apologies. Please call back again, 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Caller, please call again, and we're going to pick up your call. Now, so Fanyamambo was just explaining, NHIF and SHA, because a lot of people in the diaspora pay towards healthcare in Kenya. They pay for medical bills, they pay for hospital expenses, and this
For
is
even
actually
SHA itself.
Yes, or even SHA itself, or even for this insurance scheme. So it's taking a big chunk of diaspora money. And I can see here, and Karaoke is saying, Fanyamambo, I support your candidature, the new crop of leaders of change. And then Washeke says politicians don't want gradual improvements because how are they going to eat? The overhauling of systems is all about theft. And then and Karaoke is asking about what about e-citizen money. And then Washeke has a question for the guest. Where is the money for affordable housing going to? So Fanyamambo, is money for affordable housing going to a similar place like where, because all these monies that are collected are supposed to go to what's called a consolidated fund. Is it the same thing for affordable? Because you said that the money for SHA is going to a different fund. It's not going to the consolidated fund. So is it the same thing for affordable housing?
To start with me, I've always called it avoidable housing. The reason I call it avoidable housing is because it can be avoided. It's a disaster. Why would government make the cost of cement so high? Because taxation on cement is so high in this country. The cost of mabati is so high. The cost of nails and all sorts of other building materials, they go and tax them so heavily so that simiti will talk around 600 to about 850 right now. A jump in over 250 shillings within 3 years.
Mashenan, it's 1,000.
Yes, Mashinan, it's 1,000. So you make cement expensive. And then you're sitting there wondering why Kenyans are not able to build their own houses. And then you start raiding their payslip so that you can build for them houses that they never asked you for. So before we even discuss where the money for these houses is going into, my submission is if you make the cost of building materials affordable, Kenyans would be happy to build their own houses. Kenyans would be happy to build their own homes. Let me paint for you the picture of what this affordable housing is. You run a practice as a doctor. You have your practice as a doctor. You walk in and you find there are so many people at the reception. And then you decide, oh, I'm a clever doctor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the size of the reception so that people are not crowded at the reception. You're a stupid doctor. And the reason I say you're a stupid doctor is the problem is not the size of the reception. The problem is the doctors who are seeing people on the other side are either too few, or they are doing it too slowly, or they are doing it inefficiently. And therefore, what you need to do is to either increase the consultation rooms or to increase the efficiency at the consultation rooms. But instead of doing that, you're increasing the size of the reception because you think there are so many people sitting at the reception because they're happy to be at the reception. Affordable housing, the reason is not working is there are so many people who came to look for opportunities in Nairobi and they should not be in Nairobi. Tell me, for example, a company that like Bidco that employs over 2,000 people, why is it operating from industrial area? Whereas the bulk of their raw materials like sunflower and so on and so forth come from Uganda. My submission is this company would make more profits if it was producing from Kisumu or Kakamega. So if these 2,000 families employed by this company were not in Nairobi, they were working from a sensible location for that company, which would have been Kisumu or Kakamega, It means they wouldn't have come to Nairobi, and it means they wouldn't be in a slum, and it means there would be no need to upgrade that slum in the name of affordable housing. The idea behind affordable housing should not have come at this point in time. Nairobi is the capital city, but yet it has the bulk of our manufacturing. Many sensible nations do not have the bulk of their manufacturing happening in the capital. Can you imagine in the US you find the bulk of the manufacturing happening in Washington, D.C.?
Hata kuna
It doesn't
factory.
happen
Yeah.
that way.
Hatuna
So
In
for
fact,
me, I feel
there's no manufacturing in
Hatuna.
Washington. I don't even know if there's any
exactly.
in Washington.
Exactly. So that is why I feel for us, the idea here should not be affordable housing. The idea should be, why are people coming into the city? It's to look for job opportunities. Is it possible for us to decentralize these job opportunities? Then you don't need to build houses. So we have a person who is foolish, who finds you selling fruits by the roadside, and this is what UDA did, on a wheelbarrow, and they say, oh, this person needs a wheelbarrow. So they started stupidly buying wheelbarrows and giving everybody who was selling by the roadside and saying, sasa, hautakuwa unaweka na kwa kitu mzee, we shall give you a wheelbarrow. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, on the other hand, looks at them and says, wait a minute. These people are selling on wheelbarrows by the roadside because they don't have a market. So he starts building markets for them close by to where they are. A decent outfit with a toilet, with a place they can wash their hands. Now, that is how governments are supposed to think. So anybody who is telling us that Kenya needs affordable housing right now has got a brain that is too affordable to every idea. What we need is not affordable housing, is to ask, what is causing Kenyans to find themselves in slums? They've come to look for opportunities. How do we make sure that these opportunities are available to them closer home? Then you won't need to build any house.
Now, especially even when we look at
Logic.
at the diaspora, for example, in as far as employment opportunity, we actually have the caller who has called back again. We don't want to lose him again.
Yes.
So I think we're going to pick up the call and then we're going to continue. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak.
Welcome to the One Mic Show.
Number ending in 7821. 7821. Name and where you're calling from.
Thank you, Ali. My name is Benito Soro, and I'm calling from Laurel, Maryland.
All right, Benito, talk to us.
Habari yako Bwana Benito.
Good. Who am I speaking to? I had Ali, but I don't know who.
Yes, this is Ali. Talk to us, Benito.
We karibu boss wewe hata story mob.
Oh, most fire! I can tell your voice, huh?
What up, bro?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I just want to address my aspiring candidate, Kinodia. I am from the Dagoretti South constituency in Otero Ward. So I felt pressed with some questions that I really want to ask him. So is he online? Is he
Oh,
hearing me?
yeah.
Yes,
online.
yes.
Wewe fanya mambo, sema kitu ndio kusikia.
Very much.
Yeah, how are you? Fanyambo, VP. How are you?
Asante sana mtu wa Odhero Rodhemeto. Thank you.
Yeah, sisi tuko Odero Rodhemeto hapo Modoa Odero Rodhemeto.
Mvua,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm in Maryland, Laurel, but I hail from Odero. And my pressing issue is about the land rates in the Dagoretti constituency. And before Dagoretti was even divided to Dagoretti North and Dagoretti South, we were just one Dagoretti under Kamoyo, under, Kasanja back in the days.
Yes.
Yeah, but now it's Dagoretti South and Dagoretti North. We are under KJ. Okay. And you are aspiring candidate for MP in Dagoretti South.
Yes.
So my pressing issue, like I said, is the land rates. Back in the days before it was divided, Karen is in Dagoretti and was in Dagoretti constituency. But Karen
Yes.
ward or Karen, I don't know if it's a ward or anything, but they didn't used to pay land rates. And
Yes.
Karen, as you know, traditionally was back in the days or even now, is a rich neighborhood owned by
Yes.
rich people. And they,
Yes.
according to my understanding, even from back in the days, they didn't used to pay land rates. Why is it that the rich people from Karen in the great constituency don't have to pay land rates, and the other regular people in the great constituency from Rodemitu, from Waidaka, from other wards in the great constituency, they have to pay land rates. And then when it comes to resources or services that are rendered by the Nairobi County Council, we are all under the Nairobi County Council. When it comes to the services like water supply is not adequate in these other words. Current, they don't ever lack water supply. They can even dig their own boreholes. But in other words, we are harassed if you dig your own borehole. We have so many conditions whereby you cannot even dig your own borehole. But these rich people in Karen who are in the same constituency, they can dig their own borehole. They have adequate water supply, and they have tarmacked roads. Like where I come from, like in Odiru, okay, or Itaka, we just started having, tarmac roads in the neighborhoods after all this CDF implementation was done. But these people have enjoyed all the services and facility and privileges since ever time in memorial. Okay, so you as an aspiring member of parliament, what will you do? What changes will you implement or bring forward to bring a change or to make all services even within the constituency? Okay.
Okay. All right. I think.
And
Yeah.
the issue of land rates, we pay land rates every month, every quarterly, or every year. From my understanding, Mr. Kinodia, Fanyambo, these people don't
Yes.
even pay land rates, you know?
I'll explain.
Okay. All right. Sawa. So Ben, wacha mpatie Fanyambo an opportunity. I think he's got your
And
question.
that's just one of my, sorry, Mike, and that's just one of my questions. I have, several other questions.
Okay. All right.
But
So
can you address that, please?
yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead, and then Ben, you'll summarize your other questions so that he can take them at a go. Aya, Fanyamambo, twende kazi.
Yes,
I think
Fanyambo. Let's go.
or maybe because we don't want to lose him on call, if you would allow, can maybe
Yes.
we can allow him to ask the other questions. I mean, we value his time and he's been able to be on call, so
Yes.
we don't lose him on call. If we can get them all, and then I can answer all of them together.
Okay, so Benito, in like a minute or two, if you could summarize your other questions so that Fanyamambo can take them at a go. Benito.
Okay, yes. The other issue is the issue of security. I'm here in Maryland, in Laurel. I'm from Odiru, okay, and the issue of security in that area is a pressing issue. We have a chief's camp in Odiru, Modoa, which is the Dagoretti South constituency. I hear a lot of issues and stories about people being mugged, coming home, people who work late in the hotel industry, people who have to come home late with boda or Uber or whatever. They're being mugged at night when they come home. And yet we have a chief's camp in Modoa or in other neighborhoods who are close, but maybe that's on their Kiambu side, because Odiru is a tricky place. Uthiru is the border town between Nairobi and Kiambu. But even on the Kiambu side, I'm hearing the same kind of stories and same kind of cases where
Okay.
people are being mugged. And then the issue is the police officers, the OCSs, the AP camps, they are complacent. You know,
Okay.
I grew up in this neighborhood. Okay, I've been mugged. I've been raided by police officers coming home, and the most feared thing was police officers going home. Was police officers. I didn't worry about the thugs and everybody.
So
It's
Benito,
the police officers.
so you need
and
security.
The AP officers.
Okay, sawa security.
Hiyo ni security.
Hiyo ni security, yeah. So
Yeah, hiyo ni security, but
Yeah.
kama security hao maofisa ndio wanakushika,
Okay.
wanakuterrorize, and they ask for bribes while you're coming home late, and maybe you
Okay,
work
sawa.
late and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
Okay.
sawa.
Hata
The
sio
next one.
wakora. Hao
Okay.
maofisa wa polisi wametoka Kabete police station.
Okay, Benito,
Ama
because of
AP,
time,
hiyo
because of
chief
time.
post ile iko hapo hivyo in the neighborhood, they terrorize the people in the neighborhood, people who come late, people who are coming late. You
Okay.
know, and that story has been going on. I
Okay,
came to
so
the
we've
US
got
in
the
the
question,
2000.
Benito. Benito, we've got
Another
the
one.
question
The other
because
one,
of
the
time.
other one.
What's your next question so that we can give this
Hiyo
back
ni
to
security
Fanyambo?
because anaandika.
Yeah, the next question is about the borehole. Okay? People in Karen can dig their own boreholes because they have money and everything. But people in other neighborhoods, they're not even allowed to dig boreholes.
Which
Okay?
neighborhood?
If I have the ability to dig a borehole to supply my tenants or even to supply me with water, we are under Nairobi City Council. Nairobi City Council inafunguliaga maji, okay, 2 days in a week. Then inafungulia saa 8 za usiku, saa zile watu wamelala. Unaona? Saa zile watu wamelala saa 8 za usiku, saa 9 za usiku. When people are asleep, people gotta go to sleep. And then in the morning, they gotta wake up to go to work. But in Karen, wanafungulia maji mchana yote. You know, the rest of the day, they luxuriously open, let the water flow to Karen residents. The rest of the day, they take hot showers and do what they have to do. But you expect hardworking Kenyans or constituencies of the Dagoretti constituency to wake up late in the night, kuchotea maji kwa mitungi and everything, ndio wapate maji hata kupika chai, kuoga asubuhi, kupeleka watoto shule. They have to wake up at night and fetch water because asubuhi ikifika asubuhi, by 6 o'clock maji imezimwa, maji inadirectiwa Karen.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Haya.
Haya,
Maji.
sawa,
And the main pipeline that goes to State House huko kwa Ruto inapitia Uthiru. The main
okay.
pipeline inaenda maji State House kutoka Ondire ama whatever inapitia Uthiru in the Dagoretti constituency.
Okay.
We lack water, but other people can get water, but we cannot get water.
Haya.
Okay, point
You know?
taken.
Point
Water
taken.
is
The next one.
supplied
Yeah.
to us 2 days in a week.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 days in a week. Haya.
Okay,
Fanyamambo
I
is
think
not
let's
in
go
that.
to Fanyamambo.
Haya.
And it's late in the night when people are asleep. You understand?
Okay.
Okay, sawa sawa.
Haya.
Let's go to Fanyamambo now to address your questions. Fanyamambo. I
Umesikia
think-
hizo maswali zote.
Yes. Umemute. I think Fanyamambo.
Sorry.
Oh,
No, I have
okay.
them written down.
Okay.
Okay, sawa, go
we
ahead.
can hear you now.
He's listening.
Okay. Thank you. First and foremost, Karen Residents Association had got a resident association called Karengata. And during the Moi regime in the 90s, around 96, 97, 98, they had gotten tired of paying taxes and not getting services for them. And I remember they moved to court, and that time they hired a very prominent lawyer, then Paul Moite, and a few others. And they sued the then Nairobi City Council because we didn't have a county. It was Nairobi City Council. And they were given permission to stop paying for some of the taxes they were paying because they were not getting services. So what Karengata did is because of that court order, they were told you cannot continue paying for services that you do not receive. So they stopped remitting monies to Nairobi City Council then, and they started offering those services themselves. They had gotten tired. There was garbage all over Karen. There was potholes. There was everything. So if you Google on your phone, you'll find the Karengata Association and their landmark case and how it stopped them from paying some of those stupid taxes they were paying. And that time it was seen as stupid because they were paying for services they were not receiving. And so by dint of a court order, they were able to stop doing it and they started doing it for themselves. And so Karengata came up with an association that was very strong. They control how you build, they control when you build, they control where you build, they control everything, but they also build the roads and they could put their money together and they would do what the county had failed to do. That has since been overtaken by time because now we have Nairobi City County. If you go there, they are collecting parking fees. If you go there, they are collecting monies from businesses. If you go there, they are asking for single business permits. And as to whether they are offering services to the people is known to all of us. So, and that now addresses the issue of, again, adequate roads. This time when Nairobi City Council under the mayors was doing nothing other than drama, Karengata, because of their coming together, and of course they were affluent, were able to put monies together and they were able to build roads for themselves. So it appeared as if there was a bias to give Karen more roads than themselves. Remember, because of this court order, they were able to sink a lot of boreholes around this time, and Kanjo could not ask them questions. So they enjoyed a period of time in their history when they could do things that others could not do because they had a court order and they had won a case and it had gone in their favor. Now, I'll tell you this. One of the reasons, and I feel sometimes like I want to apologize for Kenya having had parliamentarians who did not have common sense inside their brains. They just had nothing going in there. Why, for example, are we having conversations about boreholes? Why are we having conversations about water being supplied to people? It's because we have thought that the way we found things happening is the way they should be happening, and it's the way we should perpetuate for them to continue happening. But I have news for you. Fanyambo thinks differently. Number one, if I went to Parliament in 2027, and by God's will and your help, I will go to Parliament, one of the first things we shall do is to change the building code in Kenya. For example, why aren't we storing rainwater? Why do we all have to have a conversation about either sinking our borehole or waiting for Nairobi City County water? So that every house that is going to be approved, before ipatiwe approval ya Kanjo unaulizwa, how much storage do you have? So that they say for a 1-bedroom house, you need to have a tank, maybe 5,000 liters. For a 3-bedroom house, if you build apartments, you're supposed to have an underground storage of this amount of, and people will start arguing, rainwater in Nairobi is not clean. I agree. But did you realize that the amount of water you use for cooking and drinking in your house is about 5%? 95% of the water used at home goes into cleaning, flushing the toilet, taking a shower, washing the house, washing clothes, washing utensils. If we were to store rainwater, the bulk of those duties would be done with rainwater so that the purified municipal water is kept for use. So if we change the building code and we move from this nonsense of having a dam and a system and water coming to you, it's like we have a contract with the Indian Ocean. Kunanyesha, and after 3 days, our drainage is clogged, water is heading in, it's carrying people, and all ends up in the Indian Ocean. If we had leaders who had common sense, one of the first things we would do is to make sure that the amount of water that comes on your roof is not wasted fast. Can wash your car, can wash your house, can flush your toilet, and so on and so forth.